Hey! Falyn and me here. Today we're going to introduce our topic for our project.
We chose the dark skin versus light skin issue, as well as the natural hair versus non-natural hair issue.
You know. Well, we'll see you guys in the ending. Everything lit, everything a go. Hello. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Erica, and I'm a student here at AP.
So, today we are going to ask you two types of questions.
Okay.
We're going to ask you some questions about your preference towards the color of people's skin, and some about your preference towards types of hair, meaning natural hair versus non-natural hair.
Understood.
What are your feelings about the dark skin and light skin issue?
I believe it's unnecessary.
Would you like to?
Oh, I believe it's unnecessary. At the end of the day, we're all black, so.
Okay. Do you like girls who are lighter skinned than those with the darker skin?
I personally don't. It doesn't matter to me.
How about men? Like, what do you think about men?
Doesn't matter to me. No matter what gender.
Okay. How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to your skin colors?
I don't give a shit. It doesn't really bother me because at the end of the day, I know black is beautiful.
And how do you feel about your complexion personally?
I love my complexion. Caramel.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to the hair questions. Do you like girls and boys who wear their hair with perms or weaves or anything that's not their true kinky texture?
You said, do I like it?
Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah. But it's their choice personally.
Yeah. Why do you wear your hair straight?
Because I like it when it looks long.
Okay. Would you go natural?
Of course.
Why?
Because I believe you should embrace your true hair state of mind.
Why aren't you natural now?
Because I like to go curly sometimes.
Oh, I understand. And I think that's about it. Like,
Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
The light skin and dark skin issue is really unnecessary and it's unappealing. Nobody has time for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
hello. Introduce yourself.
My name is Tiffany. I am 17 years old.
All right. We're gonna ask you two types of questions. Some about your preferences towards the color of people's skin, and some about the preferences towards the types of hair, meaning non-natural hair and natural hair.
Alright.
What are your feelings about the dark skin versus light skin issue?
To be honest, I feel like the way people go on about it is really stupid. And if people knew their history, like really knew their history, they wouldn't be engaging in such tomfoolery. Because light skin or dark skin, black is black. You still black. So it doesn't matter what shade you are. It doesn't matter. It's really stupid.
Do you like girls or boys who are lighter skin than those with dark skin?
No. Light skin, dark skin, that doesn't tell me anything about your personality or how you are, who you are. It doesn't matter. Your skin color doesn't describe your personality. I don't mind if anybody is light skin or more lighter than me or darker than me. It doesn't matter.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin colors?
I feel like it's really stupid. That's another thing that's really stupid. Like I said before, just because you're light skin doesn't mean you act a certain way, and just because you're dark skin doesn't mean you act a certain way. I feel like stereotypes in general, if you say that, okay, all right, light skins act like they too Hollywood for everybody, and you believe that, I feel like that's when you're going to be, well, whether you're light skin or dark skin, that's when you're going to start to act like, okay, well, I'm light skin, and this is what the stereotype says, and I believe it. So I'm going to act like I'm too Hollywood for everybody. That's what I feel.
Do you like people who are lighter skin than those with darker skin?
To be honest, no, it doesn't matter. Because whatever shade of color you are does not decide your personality. And it doesn't tell me who you are. It tells me nothing about you. And yeah, basically.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin colors?
It's stupid. Like, just because I'm light skinned don't mean I act all Hollywood. Ignore inboxes and whatnot. That got nothing to do with it. Like, and just because you're dark skinned doesn't mean that you're ugly, as a lot of people think that dark skin, just because you're dark skin, you're ugly. That's like not even true.
How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
Personally, I love my complexion. And not because I'm light skinned or anything like that. I just love my complexion, period. I feel comfortable in the skin I'm in, as everybody should feel. And I'm comfortable in it. I like it. I mean, sometimes I do feel like I would like to be a little darker, only to connect with my ancestors. Because, we all came from a darker root, and yeah, that's all.
Okay. Why did you get a perm?
To be honest, I got a perm because, honestly, I thought I was white. I would really run around telling everybody that I was mixed, that I was half white, when really I am not. I do have white people in my family, but I am not half white. Yeah, I really thought I was white. Like, and I looked at all the models on the TV, the girls that I would see on the media and all that, and I just thought I was just like them, Yes, and I was following everybody else.
Why did you go natural?
I went natural because after a while I realized I wasn't. I'm not white. I mean, I'm part white, but no, I'm not fully white. And I would rather not be part white, to be honest, no offense to white people out there. But I just rather not be. And perming my hair would not make me any less black either. And I realized that I liked my hair the way it was.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Keith Dumont. I'm a senior at Acorn Community High School.
We are going to ask you two types of questions. Some questions about your preferences towards the color of people's skin, and others about your preferences towards hair, whether it's natural or non-natural.
Okay.
What are your feelings towards the dark skin versus light skin issue?
My feelings is that it shouldn't really matter whether a person is light skinned or dark skinned.
Okay. Do you like girls who are lighter skin than those with darker skin?
Unfortunately, yes, because it just contradicts what I said that it shouldn't matter if a girl should be light skinned or dark skinned. So yes, I do like light skinned girls.
Why do you prefer light skin?
Because it's like it's viewed as the most attractive type of skin, so that's why.
Interesting. Interesting. Um, how do you feel when people attach stereotypes to complexions, like saying light skin girl is Hollywood or dark skin girl is angry and rude?
I feel strongly against it because it shouldn't really, like, the skin color of that person shouldn't really be based on their character or their personality. It should just not, it's unacceptable, in my opinion.
How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
As of right now, I realize that this is the skin that I've been put in, and I love the skin I'm in right now. So yeah, that's my answer.
Do you like natural hair opposed to weaves and perms?
In my opinion, I really don't like anything that alters females' hair. So, in my personal opinion.
Okay. And why does that exactly matter? Like, if a girl chooses to perm her hair, will that affect the way that you love her or like her or find her attractive?
Well, I mean, if she's up for it, and I'll support her, but it really wouldn't alter my feelings toward her, because that's what she likes.
All right. Okay, that's all I'm going to ask you. Thank you for participating in this interview.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Rihanna Lawrence.
Okay. We're going to ask you two types of questions. Some about your preferences towards the color of people's skin and some about your preferences toward the types of hair, meaning natural hair versus non-natural hair. This is the first question. What are your feelings towards the dark skin versus light skin issue?
To me, I think it's stupid. We're all the same. We're all the same race.
Yeah, I agree with you. Do you like girls who are lighter skin than those with darker skin?
It doesn't really matter.
Okay. How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin colors?
It's wrong, but most of the time, like 80% of the time, it's true.
Yeah.
So in the basic concept, it's wrong, but it's also the truth.
How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
I'm fine with my skin complexion. I love my skin complexion.
Why do you wear weave?
I wear it because my mother basically hates my natural hair.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. My mom said it's too hard to manage.
Would you ever go natural?
Yes, as soon as I'm out of my mom's house.
How do you feel about girls who wear weave and perm their hair?
Well, see how perm is bad for you? It kind of depends. And also weave is, some people basically think like weave makes you look more pretty than natural hair. So it depends on your preferences.
Yeah. All right. That's about it. Thank you. Thank you for participating in our interview. Thank you. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Lillian Estetabe, 17 years old, and I go to Acorn Community High School.
Okay, we're gonna ask you two types of questions. Some about your preferences towards skin complexion and some about your preferences towards natural hair versus non-natural hair. All right, this is the first question. What are your feelings toward the dark skin versus light skin issue?
I think the whole dark skin versus light skin issue going on in the black community is really stupid. I don't understand why we have to separate ourselves into different skin colors. Not even skin colors, but like skin types. Like we're all black, we're all under one race. So why separate ourselves in different skin tones?
Do you like girls or boys who are lighter skin opposed to darker skin?
I mean, I really don't have a problem with neither either, but I prefer talking to or dating someone who's either a brown skin or dark skin. I don't really go for light skin boys.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin colors?
I feel like it's very ignorant because I don't understand what these stereotypes have to do with a person's skin color. Like when they say that, oh, dark skinned girls are dirty, like they look like something out of Africa or something like that. All those like burnt, poor people and stuff like that. I don't understand why they say stuff like that. But when it comes to like a lighter skinned person, they think, oh, light skin is the right skin. You know, like they're perfect. No light skin is ugly and stuff like that. But it's not true. Your beauty or whatever doesn't have to do with your skin color. If you're beautiful, you're beautiful. Your skin color shouldn't determine whether or not you are or aren't.
All right, come on. How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
Personally, growing up, I didn't like being considered dark skin or even being dark skin because I felt like what I see on TV, my friends and stuff like that, light skin was the way to go. You know, people preferred being with a light skinned person rather than being with a dark skinned person, and it kind of like hit me mentally and emotionally because I'm thinking, okay, maybe my skin complexion isn't good enough for people or stuff like that. But as I grew up, I learned to love my complexion for me, and dark skin is beautiful. I don't care what anyone says. We have some beautiful dark skinned people in the world. Gabriella Union, Kiki Palmer, Oprah, if you want to consider her too. There's a lot of beautiful dark skinned people. Kelly Rowland is some good. She's beautiful. Yes. So dark skin, I love my skin complexion. I love my skin complexion for me. I wouldn't want to change it. Dark is good. Dark skin is the way to go. Black is beautiful.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jessica Tabersian.
I'm going to ask you two types of questions. Some about your preferences towards skin complexion and others about your preferences towards natural hair versus non-natural hair. What are your feelings toward the dark skin versus light skin issue?
I feel like it's ignorant because we're just basically going against each other. So it's racism all over again. So instead of it being white versus black, it's now blacks versus blacks and Hispanics versus Hispanics. So I feel like we're all just being ignorant.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin complexions?
I feel like it's normal. It's just up to the person whether they want to follow those stereotypes or not, because stereotypes still linger. And I feel like our generation is just, the fact that we still base color and race with stereotypes, I feel like that's just stupid of us. Like, we're basically repeating history when we should like start new trends and stuff.
Do you like men or women who are lighter skinned than those who are darker skinned?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate? Like, why do you believe that?
It's just what I like. It's not about darker people are better than light-skinned people, but it's just my preference. I haven't come across someone that I've liked of that color, but from my past, I've dated and liked light-skinned men. When I say light-skinned, like brown skin and my complexion.
How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
I feel like I'm too pale. I need a little color, but it's not about me being or preferring brown skin or black skin. I just need color, and it's obvious.
How do you feel about natural hair?
I feel like if you could rock your natural hair, then go ahead. But if you need some perm or weave, then do what you have to do. Either way is pretty.
So, okay. What do you what do you go natural? Like, what do you wear your hair in its curly state?
Yeah, I've actually relaxed my hair because it was too curly and it got tangled a lot. So I feel like natural hair is it's difficult to maintain. So I feel like a lot of women, they wear weave and they wear perm and all of that to better maintain their hair. So I feel like it's not about looking better in weave or being black or Hispanic. It's just about people's preferences.
Thank you for this interview.
My name is Garrett. I go to Acorn and student.
Okay, I'm going to ask you two types of questions. Some questions about your preferences towards skin complexion and some preferences about, some questions about your preferences towards natural or non-natural hair. All right, what are your feelings towards the dark skin versus light skin issue?
I mean, I think it's stupid at times, and sometimes it's just regular.
Can you just explain that? Like, what exactly do you mean?
I mean, like, it's natural. Like, people always talk about, your light skin, you're gonna do certain stuff, and dark skin people do certain stuff.
Do you agree with that?
Not all times, but most of the times, what they've been saying is true, because people let their stereotypes get to their head and start controlling them.
Do you like girls who are lighter skin than those with darker skin?
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Like, if you're cute, but I'm more attracted to lighter skin girls than darker skin girls.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin complexions?
Sometimes I get tight, I get mad about it, but sometimes I just let it go.
How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
I think it's alright. Like, I like it. It could be, I like it, yeah, I like my skin.
Do you like girls who wear weave or
To be honest, like, I think I like natural better than weave, but if you go natural, you gotta go good and natural. To me, it really don't matter to me though, because sometimes I can't even tell the difference.
if you had a girlfriend, she was natural, and her hair wasn't necessarily like good hair, like loose curls, like would that be a problem?
No.
Alright. I think that's about it. Thank you. Introduce yourself.
I am Tamika Pickford, teacher at Acorn Community High School.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you two types of questions. Some about your preferences towards skin complexion, and some about your preferences towards hair type. Okay, what are your feelings towards the dark skin versus light skin issue?
I think it's silly for a race to go against each other. I've seen it growing up many times as a young girl, having light-skinned friends that some of the guys preferred over the brown girl, and sometimes the brown girl was cuter, but everyone is entitled to their preference. I just think that it's like self-loathing for a race to kind of go against each other like that.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin complexions?
I think it's ignorant, but there's also some truth in those stereotypes. I think a lot of people live up to the hype of the stereotype. For example, I hear the students talk about, sometimes they say certain complexions act Hollywood or something like that. I don't really know what that means, but I guess the mannerisms of these complected people, give people the notion to create these stereotypes about them.
Yeah.
Do I agree with them? No, I don't agree with stereotypes, but sometimes there's truth in stereotypes.
Sure. Do you prefer lighter skin to darker skin?
Yes, I do. I'm joking. No, I don't have a preference. I don't have a preference at all. I think we come in so many beautiful shades. I think that from light to dark, I think we're all beautiful. So I don't discriminate against any range of color.
How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
I like it. I think it's me. I wouldn't want to be any color. I think I have a beautiful undertone, and I guess it makes me proud of like my family. Like I have my mother, my father, and me, and this is how I came out. So I have to be proud of that.
Have you ever had a weave or perm?
Yes, I wore relaxed hair for a very, very long time. My mother relaxed my hair at the age of 8 because it was really, really big and unmanageable, and she just wanted to make it easier for her. And I never really knew my natural texture. And as an adult, I tried to go natural once, and I couldn't really deal with it because it was a lot of work. And 2 years ago, I just like started cutting my hair. And then one day, I decided I wasn't going to relax it anymore. And here I am, almost 2 years later. And there's been like some struggles. Some days I, struggle on like, oh, I want to relax it. I want to do something, do that. But I'm growing into this, and I want to kind of set an example for the girls too, because I see a lot of them cutting off their hair and having a little teeny weeny afro. So I feel like, I need to set that example for those that feel like they are ready to take that next step on going natural. Not that we're knocking anyone who isn't, but it's a good look, and we should embrace that.
Okay. So that answers the other question. Why would you go natural?
Why would I go natural? If I was a student in high school in 2014, I probably wouldn't go natural because there are so many requirements that are placed upon young women these days, and being natural is kind of like not the thing for many. But as an adult, I'm comfortable and confident in my own skin, and I do what I want to do. And I can honestly say this is for me, but I am proud of, like I said, the young ladies that are taking that step and just saying, this isn't for me. Let me try to go back to my natural state. I think that's impressive. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for this interview.
Thank you for interviewing.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Howard Buford, teacher at Acorn Community High School.
Okay. I'm going to ask you 2 types of questions. Some questions about your preferences towards the color of people's skin, and some about your preferences towards non-natural hair versus natural hair. Okay. What are your feelings toward the dark skin versus light skin issue?
I guess my feelings towards it is primarily sadness. I recognize that this whole light skin, dark skin thing is not something that started within the Black people as a community. It's something that pressure from the outside actually created. The reason why there's light skinned people to begin with, or not to begin with, but a major reason why African Americans have such a broad range of colors is like this whole institution of slavery and some of the things that go along with that. So the fact that we've been here in the United States since 1620, almost 400 years now. Slavery been over for 140 years, and we still sitting here and we're dealing with this brainwashing that was done to us during the slave time period. So it kind of saddens me.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin complexions?
I don't like it. It's something that was done to me many, many times. Growing up, I used to have to fight all the time because I was the pretty light-skinned dude that cats always wanted to test. So light-skinned dudes are supposed to be soft, or we supposed to be whatever. So I don't like that, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't do it too. I live here in the United States, and I too have internalized like white supremacy. So, and that's not necessarily like a light skin, dark skin thing. There's just certain ideas that pop into my head when I see black people that look a certain way. You know what I mean? And I think that if black people was honest with themselves, we all would say, yup. I think I finished up with that. Wait, the second question you asked was?
It was, how do you feel when people attach stereotypes?
All right, so stereotypes. So like that's something that I went through many times, but yeah, like I do it too. So, and I mean, like I keep it 100. Like sometimes there's students that walk into my classroom and like they look a certain way, and I'll be like, I'm probably gonna have problems with this cat, and I don't treat them anyway or do anything until they show me something. But a lot of times I get surprised, like they'll do all their work, they hand it in, and I'm like, oh, like, and so even, and it comes from just watching TV. So like if you watch TV, you go to the movies, you go all watching Donald Duck and all that stuff, like you feel the way about black people. Like it's just automatic, like it's all in that stuff, it's in the air. So I try to be cognizant of my own thought process all the time, and like when I see them things pop up, I'll be like, see, that's that, you know, that's that bull, like you too, like we learn a lot of stuff, and we always talk about education as learning, but sometimes education is unlearning, you know, like stuff that you've been trained to think, and honestly, a lot of times they ain't even aware of, like they just become part of your assumptions.
Okay. Do you like women who are lighter skinned than those who are darker skinned?
I mean, I guess most of the times when I answer that question, I just be like, nah, I prefer brown skinned women. Like my wife was what most people would consider dark. And, you know, like, I don't know, like I do a lot of introspection where I try to think about things. So I used to ask myself, like, do you like brown skinned women because you always got teased for being light? Like, you know, there's that psychological aspect of it. But then my mother is a brown skin, you know, she's a darker black woman, so it could be that I got my perception of beauty from what my mother looked like. But I'm not that simple either. Like, in general, it seems like I prefer brown skinned sisters, but I've also been very attracted to like women of all shades. And I'll come back to this when I answer the hair question.
How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
That's a weird question, I guess. For me, at least. I guess, I think when I was younger, I guess because I had got teased or whatever, like, I wasn't comfortable with it. Or like certain times I knew I would be in certain situations and I know that black people would treat me differently because of how I look. So I was cognizant of that stuff, and I guess that it used to bother me. But like as I got older, and like it was crazy, and it's kind of like an analog. Like my first name is Howard, and like I hated the name too. You know what I'm saying? And it's like both of them I got comfortable with like at the same time. So like I was, you know, just getting out of college or whatever. And like I graduated early. I was on like 19 or 20 years old when I graduated school. And I just was like, yo, like I'm me, you know what I'm saying? Like I was ready then at that point to accept myself fully, you know what I mean? Like, cause it was like my mentality, like I was in the 5% nation, like I grew up with that 88 Public Enemy hip hop, so I'm like this pro-black person, and so I guess that's what was in conflict, like the way I looked and my mentality wasn't, in my mind, linking up together. But again, like as you learn and you grow, you realize that it ain't about that. And at the other time, I think that it was a blessing, and in that we live in a white supremacist society, and like I know that I had it like if me was the same person was a dark skinned brother, I was afforded more opportunities, and white people treat me differently, and that's, I mean, that's messed up on some level, but I also, like, I understand, like, it benefited me. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was in elementary school, and it had something to do with me being smart too, but I was put into the upper quartile classes, as they used to call them, and I feel like I'm less, not even that, but white people see me as less threatening, and so that has helped me. Yeah.
Do you like women who wear weave first in their hair?
I mean, so like growing up, again, like I grew up during a different time, like weave was kind of ostracized. Like nobody would admit that they had weave when I was in high school. Like they would take that lie to the death with them. It wasn't as rampant. That being said, like I had women with all kind of hairstyles from natural to perm. I don't think I ever had a girl from a weave. I honestly I don't like it. Like I don't like weave. The braid extensions don't bother me. Like that don't bother me, but like the weave, it bothers me. I mean, for a number of reasons. Like I don't think that it smells nice. But then, like above and beyond that, I also find out a lot of times, or I think that there's a connection between a woman's self-esteem and the way that she presents herself to the world. And so what I've noticed many times is that shorties who is comfortable enough with themselves that they rock their natural self and they put their natural self out there, it's like they are just in general a better personality fit for me, because I feel like I feel like if you rock a weave, like you got self-esteem issues on some level. And it's not all the time, but like I think that in mass, it says something about the mentality of the person. And so it's more of that than how the hair looks, even though I think that the hair looks ridiculous a lot of the times too. But yeah, that's what it is. Like I don't like the way that it looks really. I don't like the way it smells. I think that says something about a woman's mentality. Like it's the same way like if a woman, all she ever wears is everything that show her ass and everything off. Like I don't like that either. You know what I'm saying? Like because again, like I know like what my personality is, I like the things that's gonna fit. So I find that a lot of times like these physical things it's connected to people's ideals and people's mentality and their paradigms.
So, with that being said, you prefer women with natural hair. Why?
I mean, I think for like that reason that I said earlier, like, I think a lot of times that they are more just down to earth and like either confident enough in themselves to do it, or at least they recognize, the reasons why people go the other way. So I think it's just like I think it's just a personality thing.
Okay. Well,
Alright.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mr. Brown. I teach English on the 6th floor.
Feelings towards the dark skin versus light skin issue.
I don't have any feelings towards the issue.
Can you elaborate?
I do not have any feelings towards the issue. I feel nothing.
Okay. How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to the skin complexions?
People don't attach stereotypes to my skin complexion.
Okay. How do you feel about your skin complexion personally?
It's skin complexion. I can't do anything about it.
Good answer. Do you prefer women who are lighter skinned than those with darker skin?
Doesn't matter.
Do you prefer girls who wear weaves or perm their hair?
I hate weaves
Why do you hate weaves?
because it's not you. It's like you adding on to who you are, you know what I'm saying? So, quite frankly, if you feel like you need to wear a weave, the question is why?
Okay.
I hate weaves. I think it's a necessary hairdo. You can wear your hair naturally.
So you prefer natural hair. Why?
I think it's a great expression of, you know, where you are or what you're about to go through.
All right. That is it. Thank you.
Oh, that was short.
Yeah, I know it was short.
Hello, my name is Mr. Lyons. I am the Earth Science teacher at Acorn Community High School.
All right.
Is there anything else you need to know?
No, that's good. Okay. My hand is fidgeting. The first question. Do you think there is an issue between lighter skinned people of color and darker skinned people of color?
I do think there is an issue just because of the fact that I think everybody's a little shallow, and in some level we all judge somebody by the way they look. Like if you go by how people choose a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you know, you're going to go by looks first before you even know them. So that's just what I think. We all go by looks at some level, and that can create problems and other things.
Okay. Have you ever had a stereotype attached to your skin complexion or just in general?
I have had bad connotations attached to where I grew up. I'm from North Carolina, so I lived there for 20 years. And when I moved to New York, I don't have an accent. I don't know why, but I don't. So when I came up here, you know, you would hear other people casually, randomly say the word, oh, dumb hick or dumb hillbilly, you know, any phrase like that. And they think it's okay because there's nobody with a southern accent around, and I'll hear it and I'll just be like, do I say something? Do I just keep my mouth shut? And I end up just feeling really bad. Because I feel like some people think a lot of Southerners are just barely literate. But
Have you ever attached a stereotype to someone else?
yes, I have. So in my example, I guess when I first started teaching here, like I would see some students that would not show up to class, maybe not do their work, and I would think, man, they're such a horrible student, right? But over time, I would see them come in, and then when they do come in, they do fantastic work. And I'm like, well, no, you're really an amazing and smart person. Now, what's going on that you're not coming to class every day? You know, what's the real issue? What's keeping you from being here?
Okay. When considering a partner, is there like a standard that you have for complexion? Do you filter out certain people based on how they look when it comes to skin tone?
No, I do not. I've dated a black girl or two. I had one, the relationship lasted for about 3 years or more. It went on for a very long time. So it's not a concern to me at all. What else to say?
How about for your family?
For my family, I have some very, very racist family members, and I can't get around that. And I know they took issue with it, though they never, brought it to me generally. My mom was very good with it. My mom always told me, Tyler, I don't care if you bring home a man, a woman, or a goat. Doesn't matter who she is, what he is, or what they look like. But if you put a baby in this world, you are taking care of it. That's what she would tell me. So she was very open.
Okay, so when it comes to hair, like, is there any type of boundary that you have for hair? Like, any alterations that you just...
Alterations? Like, what do you mean alterations?
Like, okay, if a girl put on hair extensions, like, would that be an issue?
I think, you know what it is? It's like, I really appreciate a female that's very natural. So, like, if they're covered in makeup, like, just caked in layers of makeup, or, like, really dyed hair, I might have some issue, but it's really not that big of a deal.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you for this interview.
No problem.
Thank you.
My name is Deborah Fitzgerald, and I'm the assistant principal of humanities at Acorn Community High School.
Okay. We're going to ask you two types of questions. Some about your preferences towards the color of people's skin, and others about your preferences towards types of hair.
Okay.
Okay. Do you think there's an issue between light-skinned people of color and dark-skinned people of color?
I'm sorry, do I think that there's a difference?
An issue.
Oh, an issue. I think that there can be. I think a lot of times when that happens, it's usually a social issue, and then skin color is used as one of the markers for like this group of people is like this, and I identify them by this skin color. Mm-hmm. I think most of the time it's not necessarily aesthetic, so it's not really about people's preference. It can be, but a lot of times when there's problems, it's really because like, oh, darker skinned people represent this type, or lighter skinned people represent this type, and I have an issue with that type of person.
Have you ever had a stereotype attached to your complexion?
To my complexion? Yeah, I have. And not not really in a way that I took offense to. I felt like I understood why it was happening at the time. When I first moved back to New York, I lived in Spanish Harlem, and I taught at a middle school in Central Harlem. So I would usually walk to and from work if the weather was decent. And especially back then, there weren't a lot of white people living in the area yet. People had started to move into the area by my school, but not that many people who were like really light skinned were living in my neighborhood in Spanish Harlem. So there were a lot of questions and comments made about like who I was and why I was there. So that was it.
Have you ever attached a stereotype to someone else based on complexion?
I mean, I think, to be perfectly honest, yeah, probably. I mean, I think everybody does it to one degree or another because we're really, really visual. So again, like when we see people, we usually are like constantly sorting them, right? So skin color is one of the ways that we sort people. Also, like whether they look old or young, whether they look tall or short. Like I feel like we make assumptions about people all the time. I don't think I've acted on a stereotype about somebody, but I feel like that's really common, that like people will have a thought about somebody based on how they look and where they are in like a specific context, like socially or geographically.
Do you think that there's a relation? Do you think that hair defines a person?
I don't think hair defines a person. I think that hair is kind of like clothing. Like the way that we express ourselves, one of the ways that people can kind of express their identity, either consciously or unconsciously, can kind of be done through their hair. So, like, for example, when I was in high school, I was really insecure when I was a freshman, so I had really long hair, and I used to pull it forward and kind of hide behind it. And I was literally hiding using my hair, but it wasn't like I woke up in the morning and was like, oh, I feel shy and insecure, so I'm going to use my hair like this. So that would be like an unconscious way. But then also, like, my hair is naturally kind of curly, and I was really uncomfortable with that for a long time because I felt like it looked wild and out of control. And so I would like flat iron it or blow it out and try and make it straight all the time. And that was a conscious decision about like my identity as a person. Like I didn't want to look disorganized or crazy, and for a long time I thought that my hair would reflect that. And then once I got more comfortable with myself and who I was, I started like actually liking my hair being curly sometimes. So I think that's kind of like the conscious side of identity.
When considering a partner, do you consider like a lighter skinned person or a darker skinned person? Do you consider complexion, period?
I don't, just because it's not like part of, like I was saying before, like there's the social side and then there's the aesthetic side of looking at complexion. Like aesthetically, complexion really hasn't ever been a big factor for me. Like I like hair and I like eyes. So there's, I mean, if you looked at the people that I've dated or, you know, actually even my husband's kind of out of type for me, but usually like the guys that I've been attracted to have had like sort of commonalities in the way their hair looks or the way their eyes are. But I mean, I've dated people from almost every background that I can think of. Like I've dated Asian guys, and I've dated black guys, and I've dated white guys, and I've dated Hispanic guys, and I've dated Persian guys. So like I don't feel like complexion really figured into it for me.
Do you have, what kind of hair alterations do you find acceptable?
I mean, truthfully, I think any hair alteration is acceptable. I think that, I think especially for teenagers, it's something that I kind of enjoy. Like when I'm taking the train or I'm hanging out with my kids' friends, that they're sort of experimenting and they're doing that conscious thing that I was talking about before, where they're sort of trying to figure out like who they are and how far they want to push things and how much attention do they want to attract. And one of the ways that they do that is through playing with their hair. So I think it's cool. I mean, I really like, I think it's great when kids get weaves and kids get extensions. I think it's great when they dye their hair all kinds of crazy colors. I love it when they shave the designs into their head, or when kids decide that they're gonna take it all down and go completely natural, grow their hair out and have an afro. I feel like it shows a certain amount of confidence in themselves, that they're willing to try different things, and that's part of the process of discovering yourself. And I feel like even as an adult, I don't know, I've never thought that it was like unprofessional or unacceptable for somebody to do their hair in a certain way or experiment with their hair.
Okay. Thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. Introduce yourself.
I'm Mr. Lewis. I teach U.S. history at Acorn Community High School.
Okay, we are going to ask you two types of questions. Some questions about your preferences towards the color of people's skin, and some about your preferences towards natural hair versus non-natural hair.
Mm-hmm. So what's happening?
What are your feelings towards the dark skin versus light skin issue?
That's a big one. It's a big issue. It definitely exists. There are definite divisions between light-skinned and dark-skinned people of color in this country. I think it's probably most pronounced with women. I know a lot of dark-skinned women who feel as if they're overlooked by men of all races, but particularly black men, because they're dark-skinned. I know a lot of light-skinned black women who feel as if they're not accepted as being fully black if they're very light. I think if you look at pop culture, you look at media, most of the women that they put out in the media are lighter-skinned black women. It's very rare that you see a dark-skinned black woman in the media. And I think that stereotype goes both ways. Sometimes light-skinned brothers are in, sometimes dark-skinned brothers are in. It depends who's hot right now or at that moment. But it is definitely an issue, and it's something that we've had to deal with since slavery.
Do you like women who are lighter skinned than those with darker skin?
Do I like, personally?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I've had this debate with friends of mine a lot. If you see a light-skinned black woman that you find attractive, is it like, do you find her attractive because she's attractive, or do you find her attractive because she's light-skinned? That's a hard thing to know, because there's a lot of conditioning and brainwashing that has happened to us as a people. So it's really hard to know whether or not you like that person or you've been conditioned. I think I've been attracted to light-skinned black women as well as dark-skinned black women. There's certain things I like, there are qualities I like, and I wouldn't necessarily exclude anyone based on their skin color. No.
Do you prefer women who wear weaves or perms?
So this question I can answer directly. I personally, and this is no offense to anyone, but I don't particularly care for weaves or perms. I prefer natural hair. I don't care what you got. If it's yours, let it out. I don't care what you got.
How do you feel when people attach stereotypes to skin colors?
I mean, I don't like it, but I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon. And the stereotypes, go a lot of ways. I think the problem is when people respond to the stereotypes. I think one of the things that might be happening with black women, particularly dark-skinned black women, is they are perceived a certain way, or they get a certain kind of attention from men, and so they develop a certain, not attitude, but a way of behaving that I think is I'll find more dark-skinned black women feel less comfortable having their hair natural because they feel like they can't combine both being dark skinned and natural hair. Like that's just too much blackness. Whereas a lot of light skinned black women don't have that same hang up. So you'll find more light skinned black women with natural hair as opposed to dark skinned black women. I don't really think that they should internalize it to that extent. They'd be beautiful with their natural hair. But yeah, that's the problem. Like the stereotypes aren't going to go anywhere, but it's when people believe them themselves and respond to them that I think is a problem.
How do you feel about your own skin complexion personally?
I mean, so this is one of the things that happens when you grow up and you get older. At some point in your life, maybe it's around 30, you accept who you are. It's not changing, this is who you are, and you just come to love it. I accept my skin color. I recognize that being a lighter skinned person, there are certain things that I'm able to do, or there's certain privilege that comes with that. I do recognize that. Physically, when I look at my skin color, I like myself a little darker. I love in the summertime when I get a tan, I get a couple of shades darker. But it doesn't last forever. I don't like my winter color at all. But yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yay!
Yeah, sure.
Hey, it's Falyn, and I'm just going to talk about this experience with this project and how I feel about the dark skin versus light skin issue and the non-natural hair versus natural hair issue. Basically, when we were doing this whole interviewing thing, I was actually kind of surprised, like, based on certain things that you guys said. Like, I found that the light skinned people tended to want to be darker. Like, a couple of people said that, like, it was really surprising because you would think, okay, they're light skinned, they probably have all these privileges that come with that, but no, they would like to be darker. Like, they're really happy for their tans that they get in the summer. So I was like really surprised by that. People generally, when it came to the dark skin versus light skin issue, people didn't like it. They didn't find it acceptable, but in a way they condoned it with different things that they said. Like they would like counter themselves with certain things that they said. Like, for example, when I would say, who do you prefer, dark skin to light skin? Some people would literally answer that question like, yeah, I like, it doesn't really matter, but I prefer so and so. I mean, it is a preference, but what exactly does this have to do with attraction? Like, and to be specific, like sexual attraction, like what does that have to do with anything? I mean, you can't really get a hard on and get turned on too much by a dark skinned person or a light skinned person. Like, complexion necessarily doesn't have much to do with that. So the fact that that question was even really answered with a preference, period, is like, it says something. Like, it really does say something. Like, I mean, I think that overall every person of color has this thing where they have to that they have to have a preference for something. So that's one thing I noticed. One thing that I found interesting with the white folks that I interviewed, I asked them about stereotypes they have, and they didn't really mention any stereotype about being white. Like, I wish I could have asked them if, like, they had a stereotype placed on them by a person of color, like all white people are evil, racist people that do nothing but hurt others. Like, that would have been interesting to hear about. But the stereotypes I heard were like, one person said that he has a stereotype again for like being where he's from. He's from the South, and he said that people tend to like call him a redneck, like a racist hillbilly. It's like, he said that when he doesn't have an accent, so no one really knows that he's from down south, but when people say these things and he's from down south, he doesn't know what to do or what to say. And I feel like black people have that same problem. Like, some black people can pass, like they're so light skinned and their hair is so straight that they can pass for a white person. And when racist white people talk about black people, it's like, do they know what to say? That's a question to ask. Like, but personally, my personal opinion about the dark skin versus light skin issue is like, I know there's an issue, like it's obvious that there's an issue, but I'm not really too exposed to it. Like, it's really what my peers around me do that makes me notice this and actually care. Because first of all, in my house, like, there's such a wide variation of color that my parents wouldn't favor this group to another. Like, I have 5 siblings, so 6 of us in all, and like, there's a wide variation of color. My mom's light skin, my dad's dark skin. I live with my grandmother also, and she's very, very dark. So there's like a nice little rainbow of skin complexions. So at home, I don't really get this issue. Like, my mom wouldn't say, oh, light skin's the best skin. She would never really condone that. And if she heard me saying stuff like that and really taking it seriously, I'm sure she would have a problem. And then I didn't really notice the issue too much until I went to middle school, because in elementary school I was bullied severely, but it wasn't like anything to do with my complexion. Like, no one was saying, oh, you're brown, you're dirty because you're brown skin. No one was saying that to me. So that wasn't like a main focus in elementary school. But once I got to middle school, that's when I started hearing light skin's the best skin and dark skinned girls are ugly and this, that, and the other, which isn't true. Like, dark skinned girls are beautiful, likewise to light skinned girls. I mean, there's ugly duckling for all these categories as usual. That's just how it is in the world. Everyone can't be beautiful. I mean, that's just how it is. So yeah, that's when I noticed that issue. And then it just gradually got worse as I went up in the world. Like, from 6th grade up to now, like, that's when the issues gotten worse and more noticeable. And then the natural hair versus non-natural hair issue. This issue wasn't even a problem until I went natural to myself. Like, I used to straighten my hair all the time. Like, every 2 weeks I was straightening my hair, which was fine for me. I actually like my hair straight. Like, it was more manageable, looked nicer to me. And yeah, I used to straighten my hair. But I stopped that because every 2 weeks it was $50 for a washing set. $50 every 2 weeks, that's $100 a month. Like, do the math, it's a lot of money. So I stopped that. I cut that practice out because of that reason. And then my hair still was very damaged from the straightening it. Heat is really bad for hair in general. Heat and perms, and it's not good. So I did it for healthier hair. I went natural for healthier hair. And yeah, like, I'm proud with how my hair is now. But at first it wasn't really like that. Like, I realized there was an issue with non-natural hair and natural hair because when I went natural, people would look at me strange and they'd be like, oh, your hair's nappy, your hair's this and that, and you need to straighten it again, da-da-da. People say a lot of things like that. And one boy in my school said to me one day, well, he didn't say it to me, but he posted a status on Facebook. He was like, oh, you need 2 buckets of perm. So that's the type of ignorance I was dealing with, which is unbelievable because it's like, it's 2013, right? No, it's 2014. So yeah, like, that's the stuff that we're really dealing with right now. That type of ignorance. So yeah, I mean, it looks like there's been a slight change from what I've seen, but it seems that people are, 1, not even educated about this issue properly, and then 2, it just seems that we're still fitting in on this issue in a way, because the fact that people have a preference about these things, it's just the fact that people still feel uncomfortable with their skin complexions and their hair the way it is like, it's clear to me that even if people say it's not acceptable, deep in their head they kind of believe it. They're still condoning it in a way. So yeah, that's what I noticed based on the interviews that were done and the people I've talked to and my own reflections. That's what I've noticed. I feel like this issue is still very, very clear deep in the Black community and the people of color community, because yeah, that's what I feel like it is. But yeah.
Hey guys, it's Siri. So, chilling, you know. Super tired though because I was doing all the editing for this documentary all day and then it messed up and then I had to start from scratch all over again. Anyway, well, I guess I'm gonna be talking about the topic just like everybody else, but I guess I'm gonna do it a little bit differently because, my perspective. I chose this topic because, as everybody knows, Siri is all natural hair, and I have had natural hair for all of my life. The few times that you guys see me with extensions doesn't count, okay? It doesn't count. Well, and, I always wondered why people asked me why I had natural hair and why I didn't get extensions or why I didn't perm my hair all the time, because people have been asking me that since I was like in the 5th grade. And I'm like, why are you 5th graders perming your hair and getting weaves and extensions? I still had my little braids and stuff, my little pigtails and my little braids. I was cute. But and it used to bother me when I was younger, a lot, because, I was small and I didn't really understand certain stuff like that. So I would always come home and be like, Mom, my friends keep asking me why don't I have a perm or why don't I straighten my hair? And then she would always tell me, go back and tell them that you're not gonna be damaging your hair and you're gonna be an individual. And I was just all like, what? But so I wanted to see how much, it's changed or maybe not changed since I was younger. And that's kind of why I picked the topic. Being a natural is tough. It's hard. Not only is it just difficult to maintain your hair, because breaking off and drying out and having to moisturize it. Literally, like how you moisturize your skin, you have to moisturize your hair and this will fall out. But it's tough. Plus society doesn't really approve of us natural hair people. It's slowly starting to, but if you go on the internet and you look up beautiful black women, you gotta be real specific, because if you just look up beautiful or pretty, a bunch of white people are gonna pop up. But if you look up beautiful black women, most of them have long flowing hair. And I'd be like, I don't see that where I'm at. Not in my house. We got these little cute little afros and dreads and stuff. That's what people in my house rock. But when I was younger, I did not like my hair. I didn't. I really didn't. Honestly and truthfully, I did not like my hair at all. And it's not until now that I'm older that I realized the reason why I didn't like my hair is because all my friends, whether they were black or Hispanic, they all had long flowing hair. And I was just here why my hair look like this? And it's kind of messed up, because that's a version of self-loathing. And that's not cool. You can't hate yourself. But yeah, I didn't like my hair, and it was tough to me to deal with that, having to go to school with my hair in a certain way that my mom did, and me not like it, me not think that I looked cute because all my friends had long flowing hair and I just had my little braids and stuff. And then as we got older, because I went to a Catholic school, and you're basically in that school from kindergarten until 8th grade, so you're with the same set of kids for almost 9 years. So it's pretty tough to have to go to school every single day, everybody knowing exactly what your hair is gonna look like. Other girls would do their hair differently, get different weave done, or curl their hair one day and straighten it, and the next day come to school with a bang one day, and I would just be there with my same little braids until I got to 7th or 8th grade, and that's when my mom kind of stopped the braids and did the whole sticking with twist things. But yeah. But yeah. Now that I'm older though, I really don't care what people think about my hair. I will walk outside with my hair looking like a hot mess, and if somebody question it, I'll be like, well, why do you look like a hot mess? Oh, what? Okay. I confused them, and then they just stopped questioning. Like, yeah. Now I don't really care. I'm quite chill with my hair. I do different stuff with it. Like, one day I'll have twists, other day I'll be out, other day I'll have an afro. You know, sometimes I come to school with, like, braids and stuff. And, like, people don't really question it. Now, I get a little support. Like, Lillian, I remember when Lillian first started going natural, like, in, like, freshman year, like, in near ending of freshman year, she would always mess with my hair and be like, oh my gosh, Syria, how do you do this? My hair looks like this, but why does yours look like this? And then I had to explain to her, like, why natural hair is different depending on who you are and, like, different textures. And we would have, like, whole big conversations about it. It was cool, you know? Actually having people to talk to about natural hair besides your family, because, you know, it's different. But then, like, talking to your family who are natural hair people and don't believe in, like, extensions and weaves is one thing. When you actually go outside and meet different people who also have natural hair, it's, like, way cooler and, like, it makes you feel way better. So, like, yeah, being able to talk to people who started becoming natural or was inspired by you to become natural because they saw you with your natural hair and how you was just all like, eh, and people would question it and you would just be like, eh. So, yeah, now I'm older. I'm quite chill about it, you know. I like my hair, and I like me, because I'm awesome. Well, hey, again. I'm going to tell you guys my first light skin versus dark skin experience. It didn't really happen until I was in, like, high school, though, because I was a sheltered child, you know. I wasn't allowed to leave the gate. I couldn't go to the corner store. I stayed in my house. But anyway, my first, like, racial experience, I guess, was in high school when people started putting stereotypes on how light-skinned girls or boys were supposed to act. Like, I remember this one guy I was talking to, and he told me I'm the only light-skinned girl that he will ever like because I don't care about that whole dark-skin, light-skin thing. And he was like, most light-skinned girls would be like, ew, you're dark-skinned, get out of my face, don't try to talk to me. But I was just all like, haha, you're funny, I like you. And so, yeah, at first, I didn't get it, because it's like, I saw it all over Facebook, people being like, oh, team light skin, team dark skin, team brown skin, and I didn't really get it like that yet. And then it wasn't until I really sat and I thought about it and people started telling me all these stereotypes that they had about dark skinned people and light skinned people till I realized that it was really offensive. Like, why would you like segregate yourself within a race? Like, who does that? We're already separated from white people and Hispanics and all these other races, so why would you segregate within your own race? That doesn't make any sense. And it's kind of frustrating because now in my generation, it's like, people don't realize, but it's gonna be like a big problem because we're already further down on the social food chain, you know, because we're already black people and we were enslaved for like 300 years. So we're already pretty much down there. So why are you pushing us further down with your light skin versus dark skin thing? You know. Yeah. Yeah. Feeling myself. And it's not because I'm light skinned. Don't even start. You gotta feel yourself regardless of who you are, what color you is, what kind of hair you got. You got to love you for you. Because, you know, you're stuck with being you. You can't change yourself. So, that's my little look on this thing. Pieces, y'all. You'll probably see me and Falyn in another shot. in a little while, maybe not. I don't know. But I hope you like the documentary. Yay! I worked hard on it, so you better like it. Laters!